I just want to preface this video by saying that there are a lot of sensitive topics, such as CSA, SA, CP, grooming, pedophilia, death, all that bad stuff. So, if you're sensitive to those things, then maybe you shouldn't watch this video, or you should go watch another one of my videos, like my sketchbook tours. Those are pretty boggers. Okay, onto the video. Oh my god, OC video, I know you guys have been waiting for me to make this video for the past year. I've been putting it off for fucking months, but I finally got it done. I initially did the drawing like about 2 weeks ago now, but I just did not have the motivation to do the voiceover. Every time I did try to do the voiceover, I always tried to do it at like 4 in the morning, and I sounded dead. But now it's not 4 in the morning, and I can be energetic. Oh my god. Anyway, I saw this post on TikTok that was this person who drew all of their OCs, but wearing each other's outfits, and I thought that was really fucking cute. So I want to do it with my characters, except I did not realize how long it was going to take me. I initially wanted to do, like, different poses for every single outfit, and, like, how each of my OCs would react to being in each outfit, but after I did the first batch of poses, it took me 6 hours, and I was not gonna do that like 7 times repeated. So, I had to edit the sketch that I originally did so that I could repurpose it for every single outfit, and that probably took me even fucking longer. But whatever, it's done now. Like I say in pretty much all of my videos that are somewhat similar to this kind of layout, I don't script my videos. I'm just kind of talking out of my ass right now, which is probably why I've had to re-record this 11 times. But whatever, it's fine. I don't know how I'm gonna speak, what I'm gonna talk about. I do know what I'm gonna talk about. Basically, for every single one of the outfits and characters I draw, I'm gonna be giving you a little bit of information on them, and maybe explaining a bit of the lore throughout that, because I know a lot of you are really interested in my OCs, like whenever I post about them, which is kind of crazy to me. For a little bit of context, I made all of these characters, well, I made the main couple of characters when I was, I want to say 13? Yeah, well, I made most of them when I was 13. I'm now in college. Every single one of these characters are based on parts of my life. Not exactly down to a T, because there are a lot of really fucking bad people in my OC's lore, and that they don't reflect me as a person, but a lot of elements that I've brought into it are inspired by things that I've experienced or seen, or just a lot of sensitive topics like that. But I guess I kind of really liked doing that, because I've been able to add more and more characters to the story every single time that something happens in my life, and it's been like a really fun way of, like, not necessarily venting, but just as a way of portraying my feelings throughout growing up. And I think that's been really cool, seeing the differences between every character for each part of my life. I started off by giving everyone Quinn's closet, which you may notice if you are an avid watcher of my sketchbook tours. You may know who Quinn is. I didn't actually draw her in this video, which fucking sucks. I don't know why I did that. I guess I just didn't want to at the time, because I was getting, like, really tired of doing all the sketches. But basically, Quinn is supposed to be Damon's mother. Her entire kind of thing in the story is that she got pregnant. She was raised in a very religious, small town. Her parents were very strict, and she followed the rules like a lot until one day when she was 17, she wanted to be like rebellious and she went to a party, she had sex, and she ended up getting pregnant, and the father completely like bailed on her. And she believed that having Damon, having the baby would solve all of her problems. It would give her like a reason to, I don't know, keep going. It would give her something to focus on for her life and give her something to provide for. So she had the baby. She did not feel any love towards Damon like she was hoping she would, which, considering her childhood trauma, she has a lot of religious and sexual trauma, that kind of reflected on the way that she treated Damon. I'll get into that a little bit later when I'm talking about him. But Quinn is not supposed to be a good person. She is the main reason that everything in the story kind of happens. If she treated Damon like a normal fucking mother would treat her son, then none of the bad things in the story would have happened. Quinn is constantly portrayed in the same outfit because where Damon is the main character, I've always wanted the story to be set from his point of view, and every single time that Quinn would do things that weren't very good to him, she would wear a white kind of like nightgown, like a white summer dress. I haven't really decided, but a white dress. And she would always have her face covered. I did actually post a TikTok that goes a lot more in depth on Quinn as a character. I've been really into Silent Hill recently. Sorry, this is like pretty off topic, but I thought that it would be so fucking cool if I made like an AU where my characters were put into the Silent Hill franchise. And if you don't know what Silent Hill is, or like the main premise of the enemies in Silent Hill, for example, main character has trauma. He goes into the town of Silent Hill, and all of the monsters that he sees is based on his trauma. So, like any normal horror fan would, I turned Quinn into a flesh spider. Quinn is supposed to be a monster. She's supposed to be a really shitty person. She is supposed to be evil. So I thought portraying her as like this really gross, disgusting, like flesh amalgamation would be pretty fitting. And Quinn only really appears in the first 2 chapters of the story, which follows Damon's childhood, because again, he's the main character, and she eventually gets into an argument with Damon, and that was kind of her final straw, like when he was 13, and she ends up kicking him out. And after he gets kicked out, obviously you don't see Quinn because it's set in Damon's point of view. Quinn is no longer relevant in terms of actually physically appearing in the story until later on. I'll get into that a little bit later. But apart from that, I don't really have anything else to say about Quinn. Can we appreciate the rendering that I did on Milo specifically? I think that is really fucking gorgeous. Unrelated, but coloring digitally, oh my god, I fucking love coloring skin digitally. It is like a visual orgasm. Sorry, anyway. Even though I haven't finished drawing Quinn in the background yet, I am gonna move straight on to Damon, because for every other character, for some reason, the speed paint shows less time for each of those portions than for Quinn. So I'm just gonna move straight on to Damon and start talking about him now to give me more time to explain shit. Damon is supposed to be a representation of me. We don't necessarily look the same. I have short black and orange hair, and he is tall and pasty as fuck, and long black hair, skinny, whatever. Like I said at the start of this video, I made him when I was 13. At this time, I was really fucking depressed, and I literally made him when I was in a fucking psych ward. So obviously Damon means a lot to me. He is, I don't necessarily identify with him much anymore, because since then I'm doing a lot better mentally. But I am still incredibly attached to him because he does represent me in a lot of aspects. But basically his whole kind of trope is abused becomes the abuser, which doesn't represent me, but I think that it was a really interesting route to take in terms of like what happened to him in his childhood. Basically Quinn kicks Damon out, and after all of this trauma that he's been through, Damon doesn't have anywhere to go, so he turns to one of the only friends that he had at the time, Milo. I will get more into Milo later, but just know that Milo is an incredibly morally gray character, just like pretty much every character in my story. But I have like a love-hate relationship with them. Oh, God, I fucking hate them. So Damon gets kicked out when he was 13 and instantly turns to Milo for support. They met each other in school, and Milo is about like 5 years older than him, so Milo was mainly his like math or fucking whatever school tutor because he was falling behind in whatever subject, don't give a fuck. And basically, Damon moves in with Milo because at this point Milo has graduated, they live by themselves in like a small little apartment, and they allow Damon to move in with them. And obviously that should be considered illegal because of the age gap, and Milo is not their legal guardian. His legal guardian, what am I... Oh, it's kind of kept under wraps. Damon isn't really allowed to go outside all that much, because of the fact that he doesn't want people to know that he is now living with Milo. A couple years pass, and by this point, Milo is incredibly obsessive over Damon. They don't want him really going outside. They don't want people seeing him. They kind of want Damon all to themselves. But Damon, he ends up meeting some people at a cafe. He goes outside, he goes to a cafe, and he meets a bunch of people, which is my favorite arc of the entire story, the cafe arc. That is when people like Eric and Yasu and Sam and Jody get involved in the plot. It's fucking great. I have like a whole playlist related to it. It's great. And they get really close. They all become like a big friend group, but Milo obviously doesn't fucking like this. Milo does not like any of these people because they do not want Damon having friends other than themselves. But Damon, he ends up meeting Sam and Yasu, and they form a band together, and it's a black metal band. I know, it's fucking cringe, but Damon is also based off of, Dead from Mayhem, so it's supposed to be cringe. But all while this shit is going on with Sam, Damon, and Yasu, and them being in the band, Damon and Milo's relationship starts to get really bad. Milo gets even more obsessive. Damon is starting to get like really pissed off at it, and they get really unhealthy, like way more than they were before, and it is overall not a good relationship. Just if you guys know what the game Boyfriend to Death is, just think of Straight and Ren. Anyway, it can be interchangeable, but in terms of what actually happens, I guess Milo was more fitted towards Strayed and Damon is more fitted towards Ren. But it's definitely interchangeable. Like, both of them are fucking, like, cunts to each other. Moving on to Sam, I don't really have much to say about him. One thing I do want to say, though, is I want to change his name so fucking bad. I don't know where I got the name Sam from, but Sam is the name of one of my brothers, and that's definitely interesting. I don't like it very much. I need to change it. Sam, he doesn't necessarily have like a big backstory. I'm thinking about making him and Jody siblings, but yeah, he doesn't really have a backstory. His main thing is that he's in the band with Damon, and after a lot of shit happens later on in the story, Sam is supposed to be Jesus and Damon is supposed to be Judas. I used to fixate on the Bible, so that is probably why I made it like that. Um, but Sam and Damon are supposed to represent my religious background. I grew up in a Christian school, very religious place, and I don't think it was very helpful to my mental health. But yeah, Sam was mainly made to be able to pull Damon out of this like depressive episode that he's in later on. Um, but that's really all there is to it. I'll probably get more into it later. But moving on to Jody now. Again, we don't. Jody doesn't have a backstory. Jody is supposed to represent not necessarily androgyny, or like transness, but they definitely have like a lot of links to me. I came out when I was like 13. So there's definitely a lot of links to that. I wanted them to have like a really cool kind of outfit choice. Like they wear like lacy shorts, and like really like funky jackets and shit. Um, but that's pretty much all there is to them. I have been thinking about making Jody and Damon like friends. Like maybe they knew each other from school or something and then lost contact when Damon moved in with Milo and stopped going to school. I was thinking maybe they were close when they were kids and they had like a kind of relationship going on, just like normal fucking 13-year-old teenage cringe ass relationship. I don't fucking know. And then Damon obviously knew them as a girl at that point. Then they stopped talking, and when the cafe arc starts up again and they meet each other, Jody is dating one of the bartenders at the cafe. Her name is Evan, the one that she's dating, but she's not really relevant to the story. I don't talk about her much. And Jody, they look very feminine, but at the same time, they are also supposed to represent, like, not passing as a trans person. I don't really know. All I know is that they are really fun to draw. I really, I like drawing their tits. I know that later on in the story, Jody and Damon, they start dating. I don't know when that's supposed to happen. I don't know if it's after the big plot point at the end of the story or a little bit before that. I don't know. You will find out what the big plot point is at some point later. Anyway, I do want to say that Jody's clothing was really fun to draw. It was a little bit in the pain, whoa, what? It was a bit of a pain in the ass to color and render, but I fucking love scrolling on Pinterest and seeing all these different cute, like, outfits. That was fun. That was really fun. Scrolling through Pinterest, easily one of my favorite activities of drawing. So fucking fun. But now I'm moving on to Milo. I fucking hate Milo. Now that I'm actually talking about Milo, this used to be their original design. This is the only drawing that I have of them, of their, like, original concept. I am so fucking glad I changed it, because they look so much better now. Why are they gray? Why were they fucking, like, pasty-ass gray? But Milo, like I was saying earlier, has an incredibly obsessive personality. They don't like it when Damon talks to anyone. They are constantly worried that he's going to replace them. Milo loves being viewed as, like, a place of safety. Milo very much wants to own Damon. Like, they do not like when he is seen with other people. They want to be his only source of comfort. Like I said earlier, it is very much a toxic relationship, like Ren and Strayed. That is how bad it is. Like, they will purposely hurt each other, like, in seriousness. Um, and Milo is very much willing to lie to other people to make it so that Damon relies on them more. They will make up lies about Damon, and, you know, spread these lies to his friends or people who are close to him so that they leave him, so that he has to resort to Milo for comfort. That is the kind of person that they are. Moving on to Yasu, because I have talked a lot about Milo so far. Yasu is he's a chill guy. He does no wrong. All of the characters in my story are fucking assholes apart from, like, Yasu and Sam and maybe Eric. But Yasu, he has a little brother, Rui, who I actually made a sculpture of his little brother for my art exam. It looked really fucking cool. I don't have any pictures though, which fucking sucks. And basically, moving on to the actual part, actually talking about the story instead of individual characters. Him, Sam, and Damon, they meet, get in a band, and they start getting, like, a lot of traction. Like, people really like them. And they start going on tours. Obviously, Milo doesn't like this. And over time, they start getting a lot of popularity. And Yasu realizes that this is not the direction that he wants to go in. It is not his ideal career, and he decides that he wants to leave the band. And Damon, he gets really fucking pissed because finally things in his life are going well. He has a good career, he has friends. If he loses his job in this band, his life is fucking ruined. This is the only thing that he depends on at this point, apart from Milo. So in a fit of rage, Damon burns down his house, and no one dies. But remember how Yasu has a little brother? Yeah, so he is now crippled, and he is a triple amputee and can't see, and is also deaf. So that was an experience. I have a lot of people also asking me in, like, comments, why is he bald? Where is his hair? That is actually relevant to the lore. After his brother got into that accident, and he lost all of his hair because of the fire, Eric shaved Yasu's head. I haven't mentioned this yet. Yasu and Eric are dating. They met at the cafe. They really liked each other. They're in a relationship, blah, blah, blah. Eric shaved Yasu's head as a way of Yasu, like, supporting his little brother. It's really fucking sad, but really sentimental, cute, I don't fucking know. But while all of this is happening, Damon is still having his episode, and he finds out that Milo, after hearing of this disbandment, as a way of getting Damon to rely on them more, Milo spreads a shit ton of lies about Damon. Now that he's more popular online, it hits like a brick, and everyone starts fucking hating him, and he goes back to Milo, and he's fucking tweaking. He's hallucinating. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. He just knows that people hate him. And he sees Milo, and Milo is wearing a white summer dress, and he thinks, oh, you're my abusive mother who I haven't seen for like 9 years. I'm gonna fucking kill you. So that happens. He kills Milo. Rest in peace, Milo. Fuck you. Milo's now dead, and as his last form of comfort, he decides to go back to his childhood home, and lo and behold, he finds his actual mother. And this is actually based off a scene in Silent Hill where James he sees Maria in the labyrinth. Sorry, this won't make any sense if you don't know what the fuck Silent Hill is. But basically Maria represents James's dead wife. And he finds Maria and he's like, "Aren't you Maria?" And then Maria goes, "I'm not your Mary," like his wife. And it's based on that scene, where Damon is like confused, like, the fucking clip, what the fuck? Okay, you can have this clip of me coloring in this drawing of Quinn in the Silent Hill AU. What was I talking about? No, right. So Damon goes back to his childhood house. He finds Quinn. It's that whole scene of like, what? Didn't I just kill you? Why are you here? Except I don't actually know what to do for that part, because I wanted it to be like Damon finds her and then it's like, you know, but the original idea that I had for that, which I still really want to do, would be like Damon going back to his childhood home and finding Quinn dead, and then there's like this emotional scene of like him laying in bed with his mother's corpse. I really wanted to portray that, except if I do the thing with like him seeing her again, that wouldn't make sense with the lore, because how would that happen? Maybe it's like a hallucination. I don't fucking know. But after he supposedly finds the real Quinn dead, he goes back to Jody and Sam, who have now completely split away from the friend group. There's been a huge rift between everyone. Obviously Yasu and Eric, they hate Damon. Fucking Quinn and Milo are dead. The only people left are Sam, Jody, and Damon. I'm not really too sure what I want to do for this part, but I wanted Damon and Jody to get together, and I wanted it to kind of be like a revelation of him healing. I wanted Sam to be representative of Jesus. Damon is supposed to represent Judas. And Sam is supposed to help Damon out of this depression and kind of be like a guiding light. Sorry, I'm like Bloodborne reference. Anyway, I wanted Sam to be able to help him out of that mindset that he's in, and then I wanted Jody to show him like what an actual fucking healthy relationship is, because he deserves a happy ending. Yeah, he's a piece of shit. He like tried to kill a kid. He didn't mean to. He tried to kill Yasu, but he didn't know that he had a little brother in the house. But you know, he went through a rough childhood, so I wanted him to be able to have a good ending, but I also kind of wanted there to be two endings. The original ending was he finds Quinn's body, like the real Quinn's body, and then he either hangs himself or drowns himself. I'm leaning more towards the drowning in like a river or something, I don't fucking know. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That is pretty much most of the lore. Obviously I'm missing a couple of characters. I didn't talk about Eric at all, but Eric, he doesn't really have much of a personality. I'm lying, he does have a personality, but he's not too relevant to the plot. I only really put him in there because I like drawing him. I love drawing Quinn too. I just, by the time that I got to actually drawing her, I realized that I didn't want to draw her. I had enough. But I think I'm pretty content with how this video turned out. I like the drawings. It gave me a chance to info dump a little bit about Silent Hill, so that is my main interest at the moment. And I also talk about Boyfriend to Death. I'm also really into that right now because You Kill Me Every Time just came out. Fucking peak, by the way. But yeah, I start college in a couple of weeks. I'm very excited for that. My commissions are also open. I had a whole thing with my commissions. I had someone lie asking me for a commission and they didn't fucking pay me. So that was like a whole thing, but it's done with now. I'll probably talk about that more in my sketchbook tour because it's low-key really fucking funny. But thank you all for watching. I hope you liked it, and I hope you like my OCs. Go follow my other socials. I use the same username on every platform. But yeah, I'll see you in my next video. My sketchbook is almost done. I have 20 pages left. 19. I have 19 pages left and I'm very excited. Okay, bye.